Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. The title of this talk is Tools to Make Your Terminal DevOps and Kubernetes Friendly. My name is Mariam Tawakkoli. I'm a cloud engineer at Relax Solutions. And this talk is part of 90 Days of DevOps program. So I hope this talk will help you in your DevOps journey. Here is the table of content that we have for this talk. First of all, we will go through an introduction about the topic. Then we will have the tools about ZSH. Next is tools about Terraform. After that, we will talk about Git and ultimately Kubernetes. At the end of the talk, we will have a conclusion about the topic. And first, about introduction about the topic. Well, if you work with, if you already started your DevOps journey, you probably already know how important is your terminal, your command line interface in your everyday use. And it is basically your home for the day, and you come back to it many times and use it a lot. So why not make it pretty and easily accessible? Unfortunately, there are plenty of tools, both open source and commercial versions available out there for this purpose. And there are also helpful tools available for different DevOps technologies that you might be using, such as Terraform, Git, and Kubernetes. So in this session, we will go through some of these tools together. And after this talk, hopefully you can make use of some of these so to make your life a bit easier. So let's start and dive into the first section about ZSH. ZSH is short for Z shell. It's a Unix-based shell, and it's a command interpreter which provides a text-based user interface for interacting with operating system. Bash is also a Unix-based shell, which you might be already familiar with, but the difference between Bash and ZSH is probably the many features that ZSH provides. It offers enhanced features and productivity improvements, which makes it a bit more popular these days for many developers and DevOps people. And we will go through some of the features that ZSH has. And first one is All My ZSH. It's an open source community-driven framework for managing your ZSH command line shell. And it provides extensive collection of themes, plugins, and different settings that would enhance your user experience. In the screenshot below, you can see the All My ZSH being installed on the terminal. In the right side screenshot, you can see there are some prerequisites for installing All My ZSH. First of all, you have to have the ZSH itself being installed, curl, git, and after that, you can install this using any of the mentioned methods, such as curl, wget, and fetch. You can have multiple plugins using All My ZSH. To use different plugins, you just need to edit your ZSH.rc file, which is in your home directory, and add whatever plugin that you are going to use, such as Git, in front of definition of plugins. And then you will have also different themes available. The one is default, the one which is mentioned here. But there are plenty of those that you can choose from. I have mentioned a link to the list of themes that you can go and take a look. And there are also screenshots of each of those showing how do they look like, what are the colors that are used in each theme, and so on. And then the next tool is ZSH syntax highlighting. It's a plugin for ZSH shell that provides real-time syntax highlighting for the commands and their arguments as you write it. It visually helps you to distinguish between different types of commands, options, and arguments and variables. So it would help you, makes it easier for you to spot errors and understand the structure of the commands. Then we have ZSH auto suggestions. It's a plugin for ZSH shell again that offers intelligent command suggestions, and it works based on your command history. So in the screenshot, you can see the first one is before installation of this tool. You have to enter the whole command yourself. But if you have this tool installed after first time that you use one command, it would suggest it automatically to you based on your command history, and it makes it easier if you want to run a long command multiple times. And then you just need to press tab, and it will show the full command for you. This was about ZSH. Next, we will move to Terraform, and we will look at some Terraform tools. But before that, let's have a definition about Terraform and TriGround. Terraform is an infrastructure as code, which is developed by HashiCorp. It enables users to define and provision infrastructure using a declarative configuration language. TriGround is also a thin wrapper for Terraform that provides extra tools for keeping your configuration derived when you are working with different Terraform modules. So if you work with Terraform and TriGround, TF Switch and TG Switch are really helpful tools. If you work with multiple environments, which you use different versions of Terraform or TriGround in each environment, then these tools, TF Switch and TG Switch, would help you to easily switch between different versions of Terraform and TriGround being installed on your system. We have InfoCost, which is a powerful tool which helps you estimate and track cost of your info as code. It analyzes your configuration files and provides real-time cost estimates. And based on those estimates, you can think of your cloud spending and make those proper. This InfoCost also has a Visual Studio Code extension, which is nice. Then we have TFSec and Trivy. TFSec is a security scanning and specifically designed for Terraform code. It helps you to identify potential security vulnerabilities and best practices for violations in your infra as code. And then it will suggest you how you can improve your code. Well, actually, this TFSec has been useful recently, and then the company which is creator of both this project, TFSec and Trivy, they nowadays have an instruction in TFSec user documentation that you are better to migrate to Trivy since they uniform their tools in Trivy. Trivy now has different scanners for different purposes. We can see a list of scanners here. It has a scanner for OS packages and software dependencies, known vulnerabilities for CVEs, infra as code, the same thing that previously TFSec was useful for, and sensitive information and secrets and software licenses. But in the right side, you can see a screenshot from usage of TFSec, how it shows what might be wrong in your configuration. It shows critical issues, and it also suggests how you can improve your code. But from now on, you can use Trivy for this purpose. I had this screenshot from before when I was using still TFSec. Another tool when you are working with Terraform, which is useful, is Terraform Docs. It's a command line utility which automates generations of documentation based on your code. It extracts information from your configurations and produces really nice and readable documentation in various formats. For example, you can have a command such as from docs markdown table, which provides the format that you can see in the screenshot in the right side. As you can see, like it outputs requirements for the code, providers, inputs and outputs in the table markdown format. And now let's move on to Git and see some useful tools when you are working with Git. First of all, Git aliases. Well, you can easily define aliases in whatever shell that you use, let's say ZSH. So you can, for example, define GS, a very short one for which stands for Git status. You can define that. So every time, instead of entering the full command, each full command, such as Git status, you can just enter GS. It's shorter. You can do it faster, and it makes your life probably easier. Next one, we have Git Lens. It's an extension for VS Code, Visual Studio Code. It enables users to easily track changes, view commits, and understand the authorship directly from the code editor. You can see in the screenshot that in front of metadata, it is mentioned that Mariam Tavakkoli has written this part of code 3 years ago, and it also shows the commit that this change has been added with that commit. And if you hold your mouse on top of this line, it will also give you some links to the Git repo with the history, when it was added, who added that, and so on. So it's also a really helpful tool. And after that, we have Git Graph. It's a user-friendly extension for Visual Studio Code again. It displays a visual representation of your Git repo's commit history. So if it's beginning of your journey with Git and you have difficulties understanding the history using command line, this tool helps you a lot in understanding your commit history, where you are standing, which branch are you, based on which branch is your current local branch, and so on. And ultimately, we have Kubernetes. But since Kubernetes is a really complex system and tool, well, it's obvious that there are much more tools around it, have developed around it, and we have introduced some of those tools here in this talk. So let's take a look. First of all, let's use Kubernetes aliases the same way that we can use aliases for Git. It makes our life much easier if we have to run kubectl commands all day, and instead of, for example, entering kubectl at the beginning of every command, we can just create an alias for it, such as k, and then it makes our commands much shorter, and we can do things faster. Next, we have kubeps1. This is a really helpful and, in my opinion, necessary tool because it prevents errors, the errors that every human being might do like generally, without having such tool, you cannot visually see which cluster you are currently in. If you are managing multiple clusters and Kubernetes contexts, the only way that you can see is running some commands such as kubectl config get context, and you might make a mistake and run a wrong Kubernetes command on the wrong Kubernetes context on the wrong cluster. But using this tool, it will visually show you which context you are currently on. And also it shows you which namespace you are currently on. So you can see in the screenshot that before having the tool, it was, I'm sorry, it doesn't show before the tool. It just, when you change the context, it shows now Mariam Tawakoli is the current context, and in the right side with blue color, it shows the namespace, which is default. So it really helps you if you are managing different clusters in your system. Then we have kubecolor. It's a, again, handy tool that enhances the output of Kubernetes commands with color and formatting. So it makes it visibly improve the visibility for you, and you can quickly identify the information that you are looking for in the output of Kubernetes commands. Next, kubectx and kubeNS. Again, some very important tools in my opinion and helpful. kubectx allows users to switch between different contexts. So again, if you are managing different contexts in your system and different namespaces, these tools would be helpful. Using kubectx, you can easily switch between different contexts, and using kubeNS, you can switch between different namespaces. You can see a demo from their website here. You just enter kubectx and then name of your context, and it will change the context for you. And here you can see a demo from kubeNS. So kubeNS and then name of the namespace, and it will change the namespace for you. Then we have K9Nest. It's a user-friendly command line tool that provides a visual dashboard for managing Kubernetes clusters. Well, you can also use the normal CLI, but this is also a nice visualized command line tool that you can use for managing your Kubernetes clusters. A similar tool is Kubernetes Lens. However, this one is a desktop application that provides a graphical interface for managing and monitoring your clusters. It has visual representation of everything, all resources, pods, nodes on your cluster. And here you can see a screenshot from the main page. You can see icons for different clusters in the left side, and then you can easily click ops, go through different Kubernetes resources and gather information about those. So this is a really nice graphical user interface of clusters. Then we have PopEye, which is a helpful command line tool that analyzes your Kubernetes cluster and provides valuable insights regarding potential issues that you might have in your cluster or misconfigurations that you might have. It goes through namespaces, different deployments, resources, pods, everything, and identifies best practices, violations, resource inefficiencies, and security concerns. And next one is kubecapacity. It's a tool which provides insights into resource usage and capacity of your cluster. Using the kubecapacity command, you can see that it shows you requests and limits for CPU and memory. And it has also other commands which can show you different types of capacity information in your cluster about nodes, about pods, and everything else. Another tool is kubeshell, which is integrated shell for Kubernetes CLI. It suggests you the different possible commands, and it's a nice tool if you like this kind of visualization. And yeah, that was the last one. And we have the conclusion. So the conclusion is that there are many open source and commercial tools available out there to boost your DevOps toolkit, your DevOps journey, and use these tools and make your life easier. When such tools are available, why not use those and make ourselves much more productive and make our lives just easier. Yeah, that was it. So thank you for listening to the start. I hope you have found it useful. And if you have any questions, you can reach me in my LinkedIn. I also write some technical articles in my Medium account. You can also find me there. Thanks a lot and have a nice journey, DevOps journey.